What an amazing band of patriots. I love this great state. I love the fierce, freedom-loving independence. The flinty New England strength. As the Democrats' motto is, live free or run for re-election. New Hampshire, you are warriors. And you understand the value of standing and fighting. I'm here today with a word of hope, with a word of encouragement. I've got two simple messages. Message number one, America is in crisis. Yep. Listen, we know this. The President of the United States shakes hands with the empty air. That's not normal. The President of the United States talks to the Easter Bunny. And I gotta say, you look at the last year and a half, this White House has managed to get everything wrong. It's kind of impressive. You would think by dumb luck they would accidentally get something right. We've got inflation skyrocketing. Price of everything's gone up. The price of food, the price of lumber, the price of homes, electricity, healthcare, gasoline. It's so bad Antifa can't afford bricks. It's so bad Eric Swalwell can't afford Chinese dinners. It is so bad. It is so bad that AOC can't afford fake handcuffs. We've got crime skyrocketing, murder rates through the ceiling, carjacking rates.
Baby formula.
Mississippi can't afford.
We've got absolute chaos on the southern border, 4.2 million illegal immigrants in a year and a half.
Mississippi can't afford water.
And as bad as all the domestic policy is, as bad as the economic policy is, the foreign policy is even worse. We had the disgraceful and shameful surrender to the Taliban in Afghanistan, leaving Americans behind, letting 13 servicemen and women be murdered. And every single region on earth has gotten worse. Yep. Every enemy of America is stronger right now. They've looked to the Oval Office, they've taken the measure of the man, and they've concluded our commander-in-chief is weak and feckless and ineffective.
That's right.
Now, some of y'all might be thinking, you know, Ted, you said you were going to encourage us. You really suck at this. But I told you I've got two messages. So here's the second message. Revival is coming. And I believe that with all of my heart.
Me too.
As you look across this country, look, one of the great things about politics in American history, there's a natural pendulum sense to it. One party gets in power, they go too far one direction, and the American people say, hold on a second, they pull it on back. The other party gets in, they go too far the other way, the American people pull it on back. There are millions of people looking at what's happening in Washington and going, these guys are bat crap crazy. That's actually a technical medical term. You look it up in the medical dictionaries under B for bat.
Corona.
And one of the things to keep in mind also, look, people have common sense. People People are smarter than the corrupt corporate media give them credit for. They look at the idiocy. They look at things that make no sense and they realize it. And you know, in a time of crisis, character's revealed. This COVID pandemic showed us a whole lot of petty tyrants who shut down small businesses, who shut down restaurants, who shut down bars, who shut down churches, who shut down schools. They shut down the world. We just got the data back that across this country, fourth graders, their test scores have plummeted in math and in reading. And guess what the Democrats did? You know who got hurt the most? Poor kids and African Americans. The racial gap is bigger because of idiot Democrats who had the idea, I know what's a good idea for the kids, let's shut down their school for a year and a half. That'll really help them learn.
And then lower the bar.
Or you look at something like mask policies. Now remember the mask policies when you had to go to a restaurant. You had to go to a restaurant, what were the rules? When you walk in, you must wear a mask until you sit down. And then when you sit down, take the mask off. Because of science. And so actually, I've got a theory, which is the COVID virus reacts to altitude. At 6 feet, it is deadly. Run and hide. At 3 feet, it is safe, it is harmless, it is a tonic for the bones. That actually explains why Fauci's safe. He's only 5 feet tall. But people see this idiocy and they understand it for what it is. And all across this country, I think people are realizing this doesn't make sense, and I'm here to make a prediction. This November, we're not just going to see a red wave, we are going to see a red tsunami. Republicans are going to retake the House, and we're going to retake the Senate. And New Hampshire is going to be pivotal in doing both. And that brings me to why I'm here tonight.
You back out.
Absolutely. Well, that's true too. My philosophy in primaries is very simple. I endorse the strongest conservative who can win.
Amen.
Now you need both. You need both. You might have a great candidate, but if they can't win, I'm sorry, we got serious things to do and real challenges. The objective is not to just run and lose. The objective is to run and win and save the country. But have you ever noticed in a primary that everyone claims to be a conservative? They all beat their chest. They say, I'm the most conservative soul who ever lived. Bill, just once, I'd love to see a Republican candidate in a primary stand up and say, I am a moderate establishment squish. I stand for nothing whatsoever. Like, that would be wonderful and refreshing. They all claim to be somebody they're not. I'm a big believer, if you want to know who someone is, look at how they lived and how they walked. And the reason I'm supporting Karoline Leavitt for Congress is she is the strongest conservative in this race who will stand and fight and win. And you know who also agrees with me on that? The Washington swamp.
Yes.
Look, the swamp swamp is interesting. They're lousy poker players. You know, you play poker, someone has a tell, they start twisting their ring, they start pulling their ear. Well, the swamp always tells you who they're afraid of. New Hampshire has seen in recent weeks $5 million in attack ads directed at sweet little Karoline Leavitt. You know, you really need to stop kicking puppies and eating kittens. It's just bad politics. And they tell you who they're afraid of because here's what they don't want. They don't want a member of Congress who will stand up to the party bosses. Right. Because listen, we need to win in November, but the job isn't done in November. When we have a majority, we need to do something with the majority. We need to stand up and say, we will not sit back quietly while our nation is destroyed.
That's right.
We will not sit back quietly while chaos at the southern border allows an invasion of the United States of America.
Yep.
We will not sit back quietly while big government socialists create an army of 87,000 new IRS agents to descend upon the American people, to descend on small businesses, to descend on families. Tell you what I think we need to do. We need to abolish the IRS. And we need to take all 87,000 of those IRS agents and put them on our southern border. And by the way, stop for a second and think about this. Imagine you had traveled thousands of miles in the blazing sun. You're swimming the Rio Grande. And the first thing you see is 87,000 IRS agents. You turn around and go home too. Listen, we need fighters in Washington that understand a simple truth. That the next member of Congress from New Hampshire doesn't work for the party bosses in Washington, Democrat or Republican. The reason I'm supporting Karoline Leavitt is when she is elected. She understands that she works for the men and women of New Hampshire and not the Washington swamp. So between now and Election Day, every time you see some horrible campaign attack ad, you ought to stop and say, wow, they're really scared of this woman.
GrokTV.